Welcome to the Australianhiker Podcast, Australia's longest running hiking podcast, downloaded over 1.2 million times worldwide and providing you with an Australian perspective on all things hiking. We're your hosts, Tim and Jill Savage, coming to you from Ngunnawal and Ngambri country.
In today's episode 331 of the Australianhiker Podcast, brought to you by Whipper, Australia's pack manufacturer, we talk to you about Christmas gifts for hikers, an alternate view. We hope you enjoy. If you'd like to help support Australianhiker and this podcast, there are a couple of ways that you can help us out. Firstly, by subscribing on your podcast host of choice so that each episode is available as soon as it's published. And if you have the opportunity, leave us a 5-star review. Another way to support us is go to the Australianhiker website at www.australianhiker.com.au and click on the Support Us page and buy us a coffee. You can do a one-off donation or become a monthly supporter. All donations are greatly appreciated and help us to continue producing this podcast and blog. Now let's get on to today's episode.
So every year we do a podcast around Christmas gifts for hiking or for hikers, and we're pretty serious about it, and those who are interested in seeing our Christmas list can go to the show notes and you'll find the link to the actual list. But what we thought we would do for this episode is have a bit more fun with it, and that's why we've called it the alternate Christmas list, because while all of those things that you can do and buy for a hiker are really great, and some of them, don't cost a lot of money or a lot of time, there are things that hikers really, really, really want from their hiking loved ones, or their non-hiking loved ones, I should say. And so we're going to talk about all of those things, and maybe you'll be able to convince some others to come on board with this. The main thing is don't take seriously anything we're about to say. It is intended to be purely tongue-in-cheek, just to have a little bit of fun and do something that's a bit different to what we've been doing previously. The thing that it happens when somebody gets very into a particular hobby is that they're desperate to convince everybody else how great it is, how great their hobby is. And the ultimate, I think, for a hiker and in the context of the people that are close to them is they want those people to really enjoy their hobby and to come along with them. So, one of the things that we all like to do is walk with the people that we enjoy being with, and you need to find ways to convince your non-hiking people around you to come with you. And sometimes you might have to be a little bit devious about that. Tell them that you're going to go for a lunch at a nice place and then just happen to stop at your favourite local bush hike or urban hike. Tell them that, really you're just going to go for a drive and then stop at your favourite longer hike. So you might have to be a little bit devious in getting them out there. And the main thing I think you might want to be doing also is to show them everything that you can possibly experience on a hike. And that's all the good and that's all the bad things.
Now, there's a reason that Jill's actually driving this podcast. It's she's probably while she's into hiking, she's not into hiking like I am. And again, for her, it's something she'll do. She enjoys going hiking with me, but she doesn't necessarily want to do a lot of the more full-on sort of experiences that I do. And I think it's one of those sort of things that you want to do what you can. And I know there are times I can push to get Jill to come on some hikes. And I know full well that I'm planning on doing the Hyson Trail over the next 18 months. And 1,200 kilometre trail, I know I'll never get her to come along on that trip.
Maybe not the whole trip, but, maybe parts of it. And I guess the as you were talking, the funny thing about this is I'm not sure whether or not these are the tactics I use to avoid going on the hikes with you, or whether this whole episode is about the tactics you used to get me on the hike in the first place. So I think there's a bit of experience happening both ways here, but I have been watching some social media posts recently, and some of them are quite funny around, a hiker saying to their non-hiking friend, oh, it's an easy one, and, there they are scrambling over rocks and all of that kind of stuff. I think sometimes you have to perhaps not paint the full picture of what they're going to experience if you want them to come along. Don't make it too exciting because they'll never believe that. Can't be that good. So, there are a few tactics that, if you want them there, you're really going to have to think hard about what's going to entice them on the way.
And I think there are comments that people may well recognise, particularly the lesser hiker in the pair or the family, of things like, are we there yet?
Are we there yet?
Or do you want to go on a short hike? If you don't ask what a short hike is, you've got no one else to blame but yourself.
I'm not sure whose side you're on this too. But that was something else that I saw. It was, a hiker saying to their non-hiking friend, it is a short hike, and the comment was, we're now 4 hours into a 30-minute hike, and we're not there yet. So you do have to kind of play along, and you do have to work out what's going to entice them, and it's really, really hard because, as I said, we like what we like, and we like to talk about it, and we make it sound, really exciting because we probably leave out all the bad bits. I know there are some hikes that I've been on that it's like in the moment, it's just really, really tough. And you probably listen to some of those podcast episodes where we've been on a hike and I'm a little bit low. But then I get to the end and it's like, isn't that great? That was just so fantastic. And I forget all of the the drama or the tiredness or the wetness or the mud or whatever it might be along the way.
I think we've done a podcast and a written article on types of fun, and if you haven't listened to that, it's worthwhile having a listen to. And if you go to the show notes for this podcast, we'll have the link to that. But when we talk about type 1 fun is basically it's fun at the time you're doing it. Type 2 fun can be a bit hairy if you like, and it's something that while you were doing it, you definitely didn't think it was fun, but in retrospect, when you think back on it, you think, yep, that was really good. And then type 3 fun is, no, it's really not fun at all.
It was much more character building than anything else. Yeah. I think so. So. If you really want your non-hiking friend to come on a hike, or a non-hiking family member to come on a hike with you, you can be honest, but sometimes that doesn't work out so well. If they're captive, if you can, and I'm not promoting that anybody should be held captive in any way, but you might have to be a little bit creative of how to get them there in the first place. I think the other thing that, and again, I'm probably reflecting on my experience with Tim on this. The thing that Tim really, really, really enjoys, obviously, is wandering around the outdoor stores. And once I've sort of done one circuit and I'm back at the entry door, I'm thinking, yep, we can go on here. Sometimes he asks if we can do that, and I will reluctantly say yes. And sometimes we just find ourselves magically standing at the door of an outdoor store. And obviously there's only one thing to do but to go in because he's already in there. And I don't know how many circuits he does, but it takes a bit of time and it takes much longer than it does for me to do one circuit.
I think that's the male hiking equivalent of going dress shopping.
I never take you dress shopping, Tim. I know better than that. That's not going to work. And then, so again, there are ways that if you really, really, really want, the person that you care about to be in the hiking store with you, there are some tactics that you might have to deploy to make that happen. So think about that. Think about where you live. Think about where they live. If you are not in the same place, you can always magically, accidentally meet at a particular spot and go, oh, while we're here, why don't we go in? But there's nothing better than sharing a store with the person that you care most about. Isn't that right, Tim?
It is.
You have no idea what I'm thinking when I'm walking around these stores. Then, if you're going to double up or maybe triple up on that, there's an opportunity to orchestrate you going with someone you care about to a series of outdoor stores. And I can tell you, Tim really loves that. Like, that is just an afternoon in Melbourne, wandering the streets and going into all the outdoor stores. There's nothing better on Tim's mind than that.
Yeah, I think every city tends to be the same, but certainly Melbourne has such a large number of outdoor stores within a fairly short space. So it's very easy to get into the centre of a city and just go for a wander, and in fact not too far from the very centre of the city, and you can quite easily spend hours visiting all the outdoor stores.
Yeah, apparently you can spend hours doing that, Tim. And then there's no question that, if you're there and you see them all, the other person will soon get the idea that they're going to have to do the whole lot. And, again, when we do that, there's absolutely no question. Sometimes I'm surprised when he doesn't want to go into a particular store, and I've already, stepped over the threshold and discover he's not behind me. But mostly it's one in, all in, and it's great fun. It's great fun. But he has a great time. So that's all that matters. And I guess this is the interesting thing is because, I'm into this, but not that much to spend that amount of time. And I think, if you're really trying to, connect with that other person, think of Tim and I and think of some of the things that he's done to get me in the right place at the right time. So there's really not much of a choice.
Whipper is an Australian designer and manufacturer of ultralight packs based in the Blue Mountains town of Katoomba, and manufactures the best purpose-built performance packs for use in hiking, mountaineering, climbing and canyoning. Leveraging Australian design and manufacturing experience built up since 1981, Whipper uses the most advanced materials available with a minimalist approach that ensures every element serves a purpose. In doing so, they strip away the unnecessary to focus on what truly matters, which is functionality, durability, comfort and performance, to create packs that, in Whipper's words, are lighter, stronger and better. So if you want to experience your ultimate hiking adventure, then get yourself a Whipper Ultralight Performance Pack designed and built in Katoomba, Australia. So I think, in that respect, and again, I made a comment earlier on, and by no means do I mean it to be sexist, but the term gear freak comes up, and there are female gear freaks, but by far there are probably far more male gear freaks.
I don't know whether there's been a scientific study on that, Tim.
Again, I could be wrong.
I think you're stepping into serious territory here.
So, certainly in that respect, I love the planning aspect of hiking just as much as the hiking itself. I am a gear freak. I love touching and feeling the gear and seeing what's come out and what things I want to actually get. Quite often I know exactly what I want and when I want and where it's coming from, but other time I'll come across things that are just I hadn't thought about it at all, or they're new, or there's just something small. I'm thinking that would be quite useful, and you tend not to think about it when you're looking at going through and shopping online, or if you've gone in there to buy a pair of pants or a sleeping bag or something. So I think it's one of these sort of things that I do love wandering around the outdoor stores. But yeah, I will, if I can, because usually when we go to Melbourne, there's both of us there. So it's not as if I can say, well, I'm going down to Melbourne to wander around the outdoor stores. because
and you're not coming. It's like, oh, maybe you could say that. Look, the interesting thing is, I guess for us, Tim does like buying things. I don't like buying things. I'm very much practical in terms of what I need and just what I need. And it doesn't matter. And he talks about clothing and all those sorts of things. But really, I don't buy to excess. I buy what I need. And, I do like to buy whatever that might be in, the budget I have. So if I'm able to push my budget, I'm, very happy to do that. So I think there's something in there for us around one of us, I think, is inherently a shopper for themselves. Like Tim gets really excited when he's shopping for himself. I'm just not a shopper. So there's, think about that in terms of that other person that you do want to come along with you. But, these are gifts that probably mean much more than the kind of flippant way that we're describing them, because they'll mean a lot to you, and that other person is actually doing something that's important for you. So, I think, we're being a bit funny about it and we're being kind of, offhand about it. But really, I think, they're the kind of things that matter.
Yeah. And again, this is one of these sort of things that, you not necessarily classing them as Christmas gifts as such, but, it might be that you're in there and, rather than doing a pre or a post-Christmas gift, you say, let's go into the outdoor stores and buy something. And
you don't have to buy something. I shouldn't say that, but, you don't have to really, Tim.
And I think these days we've been conditioned that, you don't buy stuff a few days before Christmas. You wait till the post-Christmas sales that you expect. So, it tends to be after Christmas you tend to go in there and see what's on sale and what's a good deal that, that you might need.
But I think it's about the experience of being together, Tim. You don't have to buy something. It's just the fact that they've gone out of their way to do that and to be there with you. That's the thing that counts. And I hope that every time that we walk into an outdoor store or a series of outdoor stores, you're thinking about how generous Jill is that she's here with you, not what can I buy next.
Yes, dear.
So, I guess there are all sorts of ways you can think about this, but what's important for you is them expressing that importance for you. And I think that's the thing that I'm trying to get at with this alternate list. I guess it's the instant gratification. Some of these things are a little bit difficult to do on Christmas Day. So, it's a little bit hard to wrap it, but I guess you can do an IOU. I'll come shopping with you, at a time of your choice if they were willing to do that. But I'm thinking, reflecting on my own experience, I'm thinking you're going to have to be a little bit tactical and orchestrate something just so accidentally that happens. So whether it's a hike of a particular kind that you wanted to share, whether it's the experience of just wandering around the stores, you're probably going to have to be, much more deliberate about that.
And I think overall with this, it's, if the choice is between come hiking with me or show an interest in my hobby, going for a wander around the stores is probably not
It's a little bit easier. Yeah, probably true.
It might take you half a day, but you can go and have coffees and lunch in between. So you're not stuck out bush, and it's not hot, lots of flies and everything else. So
yeah. But I think it is those two things about what's important for one person and how the other person or the other people can express appreciation of what's important for that first person. And probably that's what Christmas is supposed to be all about anyway. Not the random gift giving and trying to have something that you happen to wrap because you have to have something wrapped under a tree that, doesn't have that much meaning for the individual who's receiving it. And we've all been there. It is not, these are not things you can re-gift, I suppose. But I think I have re-gifted some things. I hope none of the family are listening to this, but anyway.
Okay, so that's all for this episode, brought to you by Whipper, Australia's pack manufacturer. And we hope we've given you some views into some Christmas present alternatives, I suppose, and also a way of getting non-hikers that involved in your hobby without necessarily taking them out bush. That's all for me. Bye for now.
And bye from me.